Welcome back to another Bolt tutorial. In today's video, we're going to cover skills and how they can supercharge your workflow. We'll cover what they are, when to use them, and how to add them to your Bolt project. First, let's recap project knowledge, connectors, and then explore how skills are different. Project knowledge is what Bolt should always know. This is persistent context that applies to every prompt in a project. Some examples include your project requirements, technology choices, target audience, brand voice, and style. Make sure to keep these relatively brief because your agent will refer to this on every single prompt and will increase your token consumption. You can find your project knowledge by clicking on settings and then clicking knowledge. These are the default instructions which are added to every single prompt. Feel free to edit or add to this to customize this for your project. Connectors. Think of connectors as your agent's access to the outside world, where the Bolt agent can retrieve information or interact with other services and tools. Some of the built-in connectors include Notion, Linear, GitHub, and more. You can also add a wide variety of custom MCP servers too. These apply when they've been turned on for your particular project, and Bolt can use their tools when thinking and building too. To access connectors in Bolt, go to your project settings, click on Connectors, and here you can see Bolt's pre-configured connectors, or you can add your custom MCP here. For example, Granola is an AI-powered note taker, and now that it's connected, we can simply ensure that it's been turned on, like so, turn off the other unnecessary connectors, and now we can ask the Bolt agent something like this. Using the Granola connector, create a summary of the product feature we discussed in our last meeting. And now with that connector configured, your Bolt agent can use the tools available to it so it can interact with your Granola data. To learn more about implementing connectors, you can watch the video attached above. And now what we came here for, skills. Think of skills as playbooks for specific situations. These are instructions for how the Bolt agent should perform a repeatable task. Unlike project knowledge, where all of this is loaded with every single prompt, skills use something called progressive disclosure. This means that skills start with a name and description, and the agent only loads the full instructions of these skills once the task becomes relevant. This keeps your context relatively lean no matter how many skills you add. Here are some good examples of where you can use skills for design and UI consistency, where you apply repeatable rules and layout, typography, accessibility, etc. Technology-specific best practices. This is teaching the Bolt agent the preferred way to work with certain technologies. Under the hood, the Bolt agent already knows how to interact well with Supabase, React databases. However, if you're introducing an API, this is a good example where you could introduce a skill to explain its endpoints. Testing and quality assurance. You could give Bolt a consistent checklist for testing user journeys, finding regressions, checking accessibility, etc. Brand voice and product copy. You could define how the Bolt agent should write buttons, error messages, heading, empty states, and other things like this. And repeatable development workflows, so standardizing the processes such as planning a feature, brainstorming, debugging, etc. Now that we have a clearer understanding of what skills are and when to use them, let's now apply them to a project. For today's demonstration, we'll be using a basic e-commerce website. To find your skill settings, navigate to the top cog icon and click on Skills. Here we can see the skills that have been applied to this particular project. Notice that none have been added yet, and we see some Bolt curated skills along the bottom. By default, the skill creator is always enabled, and this is effectively a skill that helps you create new skills, and we'll be demoing that shortly. First up, let's have a quick look at some of these Bolt curated skills. Let's look at our web design guidelines. Review UI code for web interface guideline compliance. So accessibility, usability, layout, and design best practices. So let's remember that. Now the first step is to toggle this skill on. Let's jump back into the project. We can reference this skill in one of two ways. First of all, we can manually add it into our prompt by clicking the plus icon. Now, hovering over skills, we can see that web design guidelines appears. Clicking on this adds the skill within the prompt box. Let's now remove this, and as a shortcut, we can always type /, and here we have our variety of pre-configured prompts and skills. So now let's reference it this way. The second method that we can use to trigger our agent to use the skill is by referencing what was written in the description before. That is, when the user asks to review, audit, or check their UI. So here's our prompt. please review the UI of this site and suggest improvements. Let's put it in plan mode and generate our plan. The plan is complete, and now if we inspect the 12 actions that was taken, we can see that the first one that it did is it referenced this web design guidelines skill. In fact, we can open this up and we can see the exact output of this skill. It instructed the agent to fetch fresh guidelines before each review. So now later on, we can see a web request and it's following the instructions on that skill. All these suggestions look great. So let's go ahead and implement this plan. Now let's make things a little bit more interesting and try creating our own skill. Given that we're working on an e-commerce site, I want to make a skill that defines all of the products in the product catalog. This is a great use case because it's not something we want to put in our project knowledge, as we don't need to reference this all of the time, just when we're building out product pages and things that relate to those products. Remember that by default, if we go into skills, that our skill creator is enabled. And here we can read what invokes that skill. Create a new Bolt skill from a workflow or best practice that the user wants to capture. Use this whenever the user says they want to make a skill or create a skill. So by using this wording, it'll invoke the skill creator. Now, because this is going to be quite a long prompt, I've opened it here in a word editor. Let's read through it. Create a new skill for this project that stores my online store's product catalog and its fulfillment rules, so that anytime I later ask you to build a product page, listing cart, checkout, you already know exactly what I sell and how each item is delivered. Now here's the body of the skill. Capture the following as the single source of truth. Any page you build later must pull prices, variants, and rules from here so nothing drifts. Store basics. The currency should be in USD. And there are 2 fulfillment types and they behave differently at checkout. So we have 3 products that we want to add to the site. The first one is a digital course that they can buy for $149. And there's specific information about the refund window. The second is a digital template pack, which they can buy for $39 or bundle it with the previous one for $169. The third is physical merchandise. It's for $65. Notice that it's a physical good, it needs shipping, and it can be one of 2 colors, black or yellow. Here are the fulfillment rules where we talk about digital products versus physical products. With that clearly articulated, let's copy this entire prompt, paste it back into our Bolt project, turn it on plan mode and create a plan. We've answered the clarifying questions. We'll turn it off plan mode and let's build. The agent's finished working and it's saying the skill has been created. Let's now inspect it in our skills settings. No longer are the skills in this project empty, and we can see the store catalog has been added. We can read the description, use whenever building or editing anything store related for this business. And if we want to inspect it further, we can click edit, and here we can see the set of instructions which will be used when this skill is applied. If we make any changes, make sure to save. Now let's test this skill out. First of all, let's clear our context so that the agent isn't referencing any knowledge it has in our prior conversation. Using your knowledge of our store catalog, please add each of the items to the collection section on the home page, hopefully showing up here. Let's enter plan mode and we'll build the plan. Answer the clarifying questions. Notice the third one asks, do you want the cards to remain display only or should they link to a product detail page? So I've said link to the product detail pages. We'll turn it off plan mode and let's build. Here we go. It's added those 3 products to our collection section. One is the Creator Brand Sprint, which is a digital product. We've got another digital product, our social kit for Figma, and 3, a physical product, which is the embroidered Creator crew neck. All 3 of these products are successfully showing the accurate information described in the skill. And if we click into a product detail page, we can see further details such as delivery, license, and refunds that we just outlined. The beauty of this method is that if we reference these products again in our website, we're able to do so accurately. Here's our prompt. Create an affiliate marketing page which mentions each of the 3 products with their details and indicates that affiliate purchasers will receive 10% commission of the final sale value. Let's plan it out and create our plan. We'll answer the clarifying questions, turn it off plan mode, and build. The build's complete. Let's now look at this new affiliate page, and if we scroll down, we can see that we've got those successfully mentioned and accurate products showing the right price with the affiliate earnings associated with it. Let's now look at another example of a skill that we can use. By searching skills.sh, that'll take us to this open agent skills ecosystem, and we can see there's almost 1 million skills listed in this database. Scrolling down, I can see this skill called brainstorming, and let's have a look at what it says. It helps turn ideas into fully formed designs and specs through natural, collaborative dialogue. It has over 250,000 stars on GitHub, so we know it's quite reputable, and we can open up the repository by clicking this link. The link has taken us to this GitHub repository, so now let's copy this URL. Jump back into our Bolt project, let's go into the skill settings once again, and now we're going to click Add Skill from GitHub. Let's now paste that URL, select the skill folder name, it's called brainstorming, and click create. Brainstorming has now been added, and let's see what evokes it. You must use this before any creative work, creating features, building components, adding functionality. So it seems like this will be applied every single time we try and do creative work. So let's test it out. We'll clear the context. Here's our prompt. Help me brainstorm how we can improve the hero section. We'll enter plan mode, and let's create the plan. Now, looking closely at the actions it's taken, we can see it's evoked the brainstorming skill. So now if we read through this plan, notice it's responding to us differently than how it's done in the past. It's asking, before I propose directions, one question at a time. What's the primary job of the hero for you? Let's say B, communicate the brand. Remaining in plan mode, we'll send this off. Now it's asking us, next question, what's the brand voice you want the hero to carry? And notice that instead of asking 3 clarifying questions like it normally does, it's asking us a series of questions following the same process that's outlined in the brainstorming skill. Because we've instructed the agent to act as our brainstorming partner, it's now showing us 3 different approaches that it can take. It recommends option 2, so let's go ahead and implement that plan. Thanks to the clarity that we arrived at, thanks to that brainstorming session, we can now see it's updated the copy, it's fixed the tone, and added a secondary CTA. If you've already downloaded and saved a skill file on your computer, you can import this as well. Come into skill settings, and we'll select import from file. And here you can drag and drop the supported file types. Finally, if you want to write the skill manually, you can do that too. Click on Write Manually. Give it a skill name, description, and instructions. Remembering that the description is what the Bolt agent uses to know whether to invoke the skill or not. So to quickly recap the difference between knowledge connectors and skills, knowledge is what the Bolt agent should always know. Connectors is where the Bolt agent can bring in information from an external source and take action. And skills is how Bolt should handle a specific task. So in today's video, you've learned about skills and how you can create your own, also find and download other people's skills and install them into your project. As always, thanks for watching. I hope you've enjoyed today's video, and all the best implementing skills in your project.